Hi, my name is Tracy Stuntz. I teach in the Department of Communication. I implemented the Affordable Learning Solutions in my two classes. Communication 1 is public speaking and Communication 8 is small group communication. A couple of the things that I really enjoyed about being able to implement the Affordable Learning Solutions is my students it seems like more of them have the book and the materials. Now that I gave them more options, so instead of just requiring a hard copy book, I also encourage them to get the ebook version as well as the rented version. So it seems now that my students, more of them are able to have the materials, and especially the electronic versions, more of them carry it with them more often because they have it on their phones or on their computers or on their tablet. One of the things that I did that was really neat was I put all my quizzes this year on Blackboard. So instead of having to buy those little 10-question Scantrons, they are just able to take the quizzes on Blackboard. And I know they're not expensive little Scantrons, but it's an extra trip to the bookstore, and it's an extra trip, it's like a quarter or something, and over the course of the semester, 6. I mean, that adds up when you multiply by the number of students I have. So one of the reasons why I got involved in the Affordable Learning Solutions is because ever since I was a student, I really felt like there was a disconnect between what we perceive to be the cost of college and the actual cost of college. That the more classes you took, the more expensive it got. So you could maybe afford to take 4 classes but only buy 3 textbooks. Whereas if you just took 3 classes, you could afford to buy all the materials for those classes. So one of the things that I always try to warn my students about is the actual cost, the whole cost, not just the cost of tuition, but the cost of living and the wear and tear on your electronics and the textbooks and the Scantrons and computer access and internet access and printing, and all of that stuff all goes into the whole cost of college. And I feel like now that we're starting to make students more aware of this with the law that was just passed about requiring course materials up front, and now that students are starting to be more aware, especially as tuition is rising, it's now something that we can do to start decreasing those other costs as well. I am an Affordable Learning Solutions faculty. One of the things that is hard for me, and maybe hard for other people as they are trying to implement it, is as a part-timer, I don't often have control all the time over my course materials. So here they give me complete control, but I also teach the same classes at different colleges that I don't have control over which books I get to choose and which versions of the books and how often I'm required to use books. So I don't want to teach the same class, with 2 different textbooks. So I did what I could with the books that are required at the other college. I do know that there are books that are similar and other resources that I can use that are similar that are a lot cheaper, but I just didn't want to have to make it harder for myself. But I do encourage my students to look elsewhere in finding cheaper course materials.